Okay, everyone. So this presentation is on nailing your next interview, and the focus is on the mindset. I am Tanuja Ramchal. I'm a career coach at the Graduate Career Management Center at the Zicklin School of Business. And today the focus is going to be on the challenges of interviewing. And we'll also talk about what's an interview, because how you define an interview is also going to determine how you show up in an interview. And we'll also talk about how to develop a winning mindset and perhaps see interviewing differently so that you show up fully. So what are your biggest challenges when it comes to interviewing? Vivi is saying nervousness. And why are you nervous, Vivi? Where's the nerves coming from? Catherine is saying don't have the best words to describe your story, especially when English is not your first language. Totally get that. So maybe some confidence issues, Catherine, holding back a little because you don't have the right words. Rochelle is saying my biggest challenge is fear. What does that mean? What is the fear, Rochelle? Feeling like you're not answering the questions with enough confidence. Megan, so what is preventing you from having that confidence? Leslie is saying being interviewed by a panel of people. Have you been interviewed by a panel of people before, Leslie? Rochelle is saying also nervous. Vivi is saying nerves from uncertainty and confidence. Amni is saying not knowing what they might ask, so that's uncertainty as well. Amni, not knowing what might be asked. Danielle is saying answering questions about strength and weaknesses. Why is that difficult, Danielle? Sophia, the feeling of nervousness from the pressure that I need to do well and should not make any mistakes in an interview. And where is that pressure coming from, Sophia? Zwanru is saying, have no idea what the keywords the companies are looking for. So nervousness, fear, uncertainty, not sure how they're judging you. Those are different themes that are coming up. So some of the perceived challenges. Am I going to impress them? Are the other candidates better than me? What will they ask me? What if I don't get the job? So this is a lot of what I see from students. So when the focus is on things outside of your control, it becomes disempowering and it becomes a fear-based mindset. And this causes your confidence to decrease. So Leslie is saying the anxiety may occur as a lack of confidence. Yeah, Leslie. So basically, when you're focusing on things outside of yourself, which unfortunately is where many people go, they're trying to control things that are outside of their control. This brings up a lot of fear because they don't know what the outcome is going to be. And that's when the nerves are going to show up. So how would interviewing be different if you knew you had nothing to lose? I would not feel nervous. So Aliona, why wouldn't you feel nervous? Vivi saying I will show up as a better version of myself. So what version of yourself is that, Vivi? And how does that version of yourself show up? Leslie is saying to be more present. So Leslie, you'll be more present. So why would you be more present if you had nothing to lose? Vivi is saying very confident, comfortable. So Vivi, relaxed, right? You'll be more relaxed. Catherine is saying I will be relaxed because I was not expecting anything. There's nothing here to lose. So Rochelle is saying, I would just try to answer the question to the best of my ability. Yeah, so they asked you a question, if you know the answer, you say the answer. If you don't know the answer, nothing to be ashamed about. Danielle is saying, I would answer based on my qualifications and skill set. Yeah, if it works, that's good. If not, I will learn something from the experience. Yeah, so not really attached to an outcome. It's this attachment to an outcome that causes fear because we are looking at it from the perspective of I have something to lose and I cannot lose this thing. So Megan is saying coming in more relaxed and also being present with the interviewer, Megan, and letting the conversation flow where you're also hearing what that person is saying and that spurs questions from the moment. I hope you're noticing this. I hope you're noticing because you think you have something to lose, you're not showing up fully. So what is it that you have to lose in an interview that causes you to be nervous, that causes you to be afraid, it causes you to focus on the uncertainty, that makes you want to show up perfect? Aliona is saying an opportunity I want. Sandra is saying a great opportunity. Melissa is saying the opportunity. Leslie is saying the opportunity to get it right. And what I say to you here is like, if you're going into the interview without the job, and the worst thing that could happen is that you come out of that interview without the job, basically you're at the same position you started, like it's the status quo. So if the worst thing that could happen is that you end up in the same place, why is it that you don't show up fully? Because you stand to lose nothing. Show up and show them what is it that they stand to lose if they don't hire you. How does that feel different than coming in from the place of I have something to lose? So Melissa is saying you have more confidence in yourself. Leslie is saying it's empowering. I'm here to help you. Aliona is saying a lot better. We need to place more value on ourselves instead of the outside. Aliona, if you could have summed up this whole presentation in one line, that's exactly it. Because the interview becomes such a scary process for us because we're placing value on something outside of ourselves more than we value ourselves. Is because we believe that without that job, we are worthless. So Vivi is saying it's a great shift in perspective. Awesome. So I'm glad you all can see that. So I want you to keep that in mind. My job in an interview is to show them what they stand to lose if they don't hire me, considering that it's a great fit, right? Not everything is going to be a great fit. So this also requires you knowing yourself and knowing the environment in which you are going to thrive. So when you believe you have something to lose, you come in from this perspective of wanting to protect yourself rather than creating a genuine connection, because what you're doing is that you're hedging yourself so that I don't lose this opportunity, playing not to lose. Also, what you're doing when you believe you have something to lose is that you're focusing on the future outcome rather than being in the moment. And when you're actually not in the moment, you cannot connect with someone because it's like that person doesn't exist because you're just in your head. So Leslie is saying, wow, playing not to lose. Aliona is saying, what if you don't have much experience in that area but want to learn? It's harder to show your value when you don't know much about that industry. So Aliona, this is where you have to be very realistic and honest with yourself. If you're applying to a position that's not necessarily right for you, maybe you need to take a position in the interim that will allow you to gain those skills. So for example, a lot of times I see students who are coming in first year accounting students and they have not had any accounting experience and haven't been part of an accounting club or haven't done anything like that. And they're applying for Big Four positions. They're applying for jobs in public accounting and Big Four positions. Imagine that person applying for a job, wanting to learn, excited about accounting, versus somebody who has had 2 internships in audit. That person was the secretary of the Zicklin Graduate Accounting Society. Obviously, that person would stand out more than this person who doesn't have any experience. I would say this person who doesn't have any experience needs to say, okay, so my starting point is very different than the starting point of the person who has 2 internships and has that leadership experience. And I accept this as my starting point. And for me right now, what I need to do is maybe take an internship with a smaller CPA firm so that I can develop that experience. So it's not to, like for me, for example, to go say I want to be an engineer. I mean, I can say that, but I'm not qualified to be an engineer. And if I'm just trying to push myself in positions that I'm not qualified for, it's going to feel like rejection after rejection after rejection. And that's going to be hard, as opposed to like having that conversation with yourself. So I hope that clears it up, Aliona. And this is the reason why you don't have to succeed on every interview. You don't have to have a yes, because it's about being honest with yourself and assessing, is this a good fit? The other thing that happens when you focus on what you stand to lose is that you become who you think they want you to be, and you're not relaxing and being yourself. So they're not really getting to see you. And even if they hire you, they're going to hire this person who is performing. And are you willing to keep putting on a performance to get them to like you in a career where you can't be yourself? Also, what happens when you believe you have something to lose is that you memorize answers and you stay in your head and you're not listening to them, and you're just trying to remember the things that you memorize. And when you're memorizing answers, it's because you don't trust yourself. And what you have to ask yourself is, why don't I trust myself? You're also going to be wanting to say the right things, right? So it's just focusing on being perfect and saying the perfect things rather than assessing fit. So it's like, if I'm going on a date with someone and all I'm caring about is that person liking me and that person asking me out on a second date, I'm just going to be focused on impressing. And I'm not seeing, that person maybe is not such a nice person, or that person or values don't align, which is important information for me to determine if this is a good match. Is that somebody I even want to continue dating? So also what happens if you think you have something to lose is that you keep thinking that they have the upper hand. You keep thinking that they have the thing that's so valuable. And once you get that valuable thing, that's when you'll be successful. As opposed to, the reason companies hire people is because those people are valuable to them. Those people come in and help them solve their problems. And it means that companies want good talent. They're hiring because this is how they serve their clients. Also, when you focus on what you have to lose, you feel like you're competing with many other candidates for a role. But at the end of the day, your job is to show who you are. So that's something that you want to think about. If I can't be myself in a job or in a company, why is it that I would want to be in that company? Also, when you feel you have to lose something, you're placing the value in the job and not yourself. You're saying the job is the valuable thing. The job is the thing that, again, maybe will make or break me, that will determine if I'm successful or not, will determine if I'm worthy or not, as opposed to I am worthy as I am. An interview is not about determining my worth or not. That's not the point of the interview. The interview is to see whether this is a good fit. Like, you showing up to a date is not to determine whether you're a valuable human being. And Catherine is saying it's like on dating. If they don't see my value, they lose, not me. Yes, so you value yourself, Catherine, and I'm a great catch. I'm going to show up. Not everybody's going to like me. It's okay. I know I'm valuable, but I'm going to keep dating and I'm going to keep putting myself out there because I want to find that person who values me for who I am and who I can see myself, having a relationship with, because we share, we share the same vision, we share the same values and all of that. So I'm glad you pointed that out, Catherine. So what's an interview? The interview provides employers with feedback on your ability to perform a job, who you are, and how you fit with the culture of the company. And it allows you to determine whether the role and culture match your goals, your interests, and your skills. Is this something that I can add value to? If the answer is yes, okay. Is this somewhere I genuinely want to add value? So Pablo is saying the more exposure you have, the greater the chances of finding someone who wants to work with you. Yes, Pablo, right? So visibility is going to be super important here. It means that, one, you value yourself, that you understand where is it that you want to add value, and that you make yourself visible to those people. So what's the goal of the interview? So is the goal of the interview for you to get the job? Is it to show them your value and what they stand to lose? Is it to assess fit? So how you define this is going to determine how you show up. Either you show up high value, I value myself, and I know that I'm bringing work to the table, but I'm also honest with myself about if a position is not right for me. Versus I'm desperate and I have to perform for you to like me. So for most people, the goal of the interview is to get the job, right? Regardless of what happens, the goal of the interview is to get the job. It's like, I'm going on a date, and the goal of this date is to get that person to ask me to marry me. How does that feel? If you are on the other side of this, and somebody is coming on a date with you, and their only goal is to get you to like them and to ask them to marry them, how does that feel to you? I'm saying it feels forced, almost unnatural. And what are you going to be tempted to do, Amni, if somebody is behaving like this? Not want to continue talking to them. Megan is saying you would want to walk away. Yet this is how most of us show up on interviews, right? So if you're saying it would feel it's too much and want to step back, yeah. Would you feel connected to that person? Pablo is like, be like, thank you, that's flattering, and walk away. Yeah, Pablo. Like, bye, Felicia. Megan is saying, haha. Yeah, so I think when you can look at it that way, you can see how, humorous this is in terms of how we show up. It's not flattering. And in fact, it pushes people away. Yeah, so Ashley is saying it's too pushy. Yeah, and how do you feel around somebody who's pushy and somebody who's desperate and somebody who's needy? So how would it be different if somebody just shows up easy breezy, they know they're valuable, they know this is not about their worth. They're like, oh, I'm a great catch. That's not what this is about. I just want to see if this is a right fit, if this, and I'm going to just show up and be myself. How does that feel? So Leslie is saying spacious. It's like you have room to breathe. Yeah, Aliona, you see like a relief. It's like finally I can just breathe. I like that word spacious, Leslie. It feels like I can just relax and be myself. So developing a winning mindset, you have to focus on what's in your control and what's not in your control. So let's talk about some of the things that are in your control. What's in your control in terms of when it comes to interviewing? Your attitude. Exactly, Megan. Okay. Attitude. Confidence, yeah, trusting yourself, Catherine, how you show up. Megan is saying preparation, what are the questions? Shirag is saying your interest in the job. Yeah, am I interested in this job? If I'm honest with myself, is this a job that I'm qualified for? Leslie is saying researching the company, yeah. My skills and experiences, yeah. The strengths you have, yeah. What's not in your control? Other people, yeah, how other people react. Someone else's reaction, yeah, and realizing people are coming from different backgrounds, different conditioning, like so many different factors that they don't necessarily see things the same way that you see them, and their way of judging things are very different than the way you judge things. The questions they ask, Catherine is saying, the feedback from others, yeah, so many different things are outside of your control. But when we focus on things outside of our control, that's when we start to operate from fear, because we're trying to control something we can't control. Yeah, Sophia's saying the interviewer's attitude or personality. So focus on what's in your control. In most cases, you have no control over the outcome of the interview, who interviews you or what questions they ask, right? But the great news is that you have a lot that's in your control. Preparing, what do you want to know the answers to based on your research? What is it that you still want to know about the company, about the role, about the person who's interviewing you? Valuing what you have to offer is something you have control over. Being a great listener is something that you have control over, right? And just being present. The way you dress an interview is something that you have control over. Dealing with your fears is something that you have control over. Following up is something that you have control over. Being okay with the outcome and perhaps taking the lessons from that interview is something you have control over. And being honest with yourself about your motivations, being honest with yourself about if you're qualified. Again, in terms of your motivations, are you doing this from a fearful place? I need a job, otherwise I'm nothing without this job. Or am I doing this because I genuinely care and I want to contribute? Leslie is saying making eye contact. Yeah, so making eye contact definitely is something that you have control over. So there are many things that you have control over, and you want to bring the focus back to those things, because this is how you get to show up fully. So strategies for showing up fully is you never want to lose sight of why you're there. So this means the context is very important, right? By knowing my audience, I actually can contextualize my message. So it's also important for you to understand that. You also want to, be able, when you're answering those questions, you're coming from that perspective of, what's this role, what's this company, what's this industry, and making sure you're speaking their language. In our presentation that we've done on resume, we talked about, like, if you're going to go into an audit position, talking about due diligence, talking about reconciliation, like, wanting to use the language that's important to that audience. And you have to understand your value proposition and communicate it through clear stories, right? This is not the place to be shy. You have to show them what you have to offer them, because if you don't show them and you don't tell them, they will not know, especially if this is the first time they're meeting you. You have to be specific and also remove all unnecessary information, which just becomes noise, right? You have to filter only the information that matters. And it's also okay to draw on personal stories because you're more than just your professional life. So you can even talk about, a time when you experienced hardship in your life and how you were able to recover from that to show your ability to adapt and draw on stories outside of your professional life as well. Because remember, you're a whole person. You're not just an employee, or you're not just a job seeker, you're a human being. So let's talk about arrogance versus hiding versus confidence, because I see this a lot with students. Arrogance is actually very self-serving, and it's about you validating me, right? Look at me and how great I am without you seeing the other party. I said parts here, but it's actually the other party. And typically it's coming from insecurity. It's like, I don't feel good enough as I am, so I have to tell you all of these things to get you to like me. That's not the point of an interview. Hiding, on the other hand, is I'm afraid if you know me, you won't hire me, so I'm going to hold back. So hiding is basically, I am so afraid to share. I'm so afraid if I open up and you really see me that you are not going to like me. So I am basically going to shut down an interview. I am going to answer the questions as generically as possible, and we'll see what happens. With either of those things, arrogance and hiding, how do you think an interviewer is going to react? It's like either I'm pushing too hard or either I'm pulling back. That's all you're saying, exactly. So confidence, on the other hand, is I know I'm valuable. And if I don't share how I can add value to your organization to help you meet your needs, you will never know. So arrogance is I'm a great employee and my boss loves me. It's like you're making a claim without an evidence, right? It's like going to court and saying, hey, I'm innocent, but I don't have any evidence to back it up. Confidence is last semester, while taking a full course load and serving as the VP of Communications of the Finance Club, I was able to pass the first part of the CPA exam and get a 3.9 GPA. I'm excited to bring the same level of dedication to the financial advisory team at EY. So see the difference between those two. And the second example of confidence, it's a specific example of how you can add value to them. It's about them. This is what I'm bringing to the table. Seeing it through the lens of this is how I can actually add value, but also valuing yourself. And this is where a lot of students get tripped up because they think if they talk about themselves, they're being arrogant. But if you're talking about yourself from the perspective of, I want you to validate me, I want you to like me, it's very different than I am valuable and I want to share with you this value and I want to show you how I can actually help you. It's about from this place of service. It's from this place of, I want to be able to contribute. I want to help you make a difference. And I know maybe right now this may not be a right fit and that's okay, but I still value myself. So the other thing that you want to focus on is content and connection. It's not only about what you say, it's not only what you're saying, but it's all are you present to the interviewer? Because both of these things have to be present for an interview to go well, right? You have to bring the evidence and say, these are the things that, I can actually bring to help you meet your needs. But also you have to be present with that interviewer, in sync with the interviewer. And that's when, you're not in your head. So you also have to say, what is my energy like? Am I allowing them to really see me? I bring my personality and I've just let myself, be myself. Because if you can just be yourself, that means you can also be with the other person. If you can't be with yourself where you think, oh my God, am I good enough? Are they judging me? It's going to be hard to be with the other person. Contribution over gains. You want to demonstrate how you're going to help them solve a problem and meet their needs, not tell them how you're going to be benefiting by getting the job, right? It's not where this is a big organization, it's global, and I will get to travel all over the world. So it's focusing on how you are going to contribute. It's not, I am going to learn a lot from this job. It's, I am going to be able to bring my R and Python skills to help you glean insights from your financial data to help you better support your clients. So again, remember, companies are hiring you to deliver value based on their mission and based on the purpose of the department or team that's hiring you. Is that clear? Okay, Megan is saying yes. Yeah. So dealing with rejection, and I put rejection purposely in quotation mark, it's not personal, right? People don't reject you, but they're choosing based on their preferences and their needs. I have the example below. If you choose vanilla ice cream over chocolate ice cream, are you rejecting chocolate? No. So they're not rejecting you. Your job is not to be liked by others because that's out of your control. Your job is to show up as yourself. But also it means that you have to value yourself. And also learning to frame things differently. You know, students always say to me, oh, I got rejected by this company, or I got rejected by that company. Instead of saying Google rejected me, saying Google did not choose me. It's very different. You know, company says, I'm going to put out this job posting and I'm going to see how many people I can reject. The company is putting out this job posting and they're saying, I want to find the candidate who's the best fit. So an interview is never about your worth, right? It's never, the question in terms of what this interview is going to determine is not your worth. So to recognize that you're worthy as you are, this is not what's in question. Basically what you're looking at is, where is there a need where I can add value? And is this a right fit? Is this somewhere that I want to add value? If I don't show up, I'm going to deny people that value that I have to offer. But it also means that I value myself. So that's, in terms of mindset, you know, that's what I want you to start to see. So what shifted for you in this session? So Megan is saying putting value in myself. Yes, so valuing yourself. Yeah. Ashley is saying it's important to value yourself and think how you could provide value to a company. Yes. Ramona is saying it's also a matter of how you present yourself. Yeah. So how you show up. Yeah. Zwanru is saying there's nothing to lose. Yeah. Aliona is saying going like you have nothing to lose, but only something to gain. Yeah. Because you come out of this interview, you're going to learn something about yourself. So Danielle is saying interviews are based on your fit, value, and how you add to the company's mission or goals to serve clients. Yeah. So seeing it from that perspective, that you can bring value, that you can add value. Yeah, you guys got it. All right, guys. You take care. Talk to you all soon.